to mention to you is this will actually complete our fall season. I know it's a little early, but we have a lot of work to do getting all geared up for judging NAHA. I'll talk about those entrance dates. But this will conclude our fall season of Creative Conversations. But don't you worry. I doubt that all of you have seen some of the guests that we've had so far. So let me just highlight a few. You might have heard of some of them. Charlie Price, George Alderetti, Chelsea Von James, Antoinette Beenders, Antoinette, new way of saying it. I apologize, Antoinette. Tabitha Coffey, Babek. I mean, everybody knows Babek. He gives so much information about conducting a shoot. Keith Bryce, Damian Carney, Michelle O'Connor. We had Nicholas French, Vivian McKender, Sam Villa just a couple weeks ago. And last week we had David Mader-Rich. So we have an incredible guest today. So please don't worry. We will be back with our live Creative Conversations. And what better way to do that than when our finalist announcements are made. So we will align that with January 14th, the finalist announcements being made. We'll come on back with fireside chats, grabbing a glass of whatever your thirst desires, and we will rev it up again and have so much information about those nominees and how they got there, and we'll really take a look at the work. Please, I keep mentioning this, but there is still time. As you know, judging closes November 18th. You have to get those entries in probeauty.org/NAHA. Please don't forget. Two new categories. The first is the Educator of the Year. We're having a really good turnout on that. You can nominate yourself or somebody else can nominate you. If you were an educator who's out there doing amazing stuff, we want to know about it. Or if you've had an educator who has impacted your life in a positive way, we'd love to hear about that as well. So make sure you get those nominations in probeauty.org/NAHA. And an exciting category today, the Inspiring Salon of the Year. This category is to replace, we used to honor the beautiful salons, the most beautiful salon in the country. Well, now we're going for the most beautiful hearts, the most beautiful soul, the most beautiful culture of salons in North America, not just the United States. So please make sure you get those entries there. And again, just probeauty.org/NAHA. You'll hear me say it a million times. And what did I say that final date is to get all your stuff in? I know everybody's muted, but it's November 18th. Please don't forget. We really do stick to that timeline, and we would love to see your work, and that's for all entries. One final thing is, if you didn't really have the budget, if due to COVID you couldn't get the 10 people you usually have in a room for a photo shoot together, remember, this is the one and only opportunity. This is not a category that will exist past 2021. We have a category called Remix. Again, check it out, probeauty.org/NAHA, where you can actually enter work that you've created in previous years. The rules to that are it couldn't have won in the past because you're already a big winner with that. And as long as it wasn't nominated in the past as well, because that would be work that everybody in the NAHA organization has seen. And it's for all categories. I think I see all categories, but I think we weren't doing it for student, and I think we weren't doing it for master. If we're doing it for student and master, give me a big yes quickly. If we're not, I would say those are the two that we don't have it for. So, okay, I have correct. Student and master are the only two. No student, no master, but everyone else can submit work from the past. So why not? Maybe you felt the work was good and it needed a little remix, a little coloration, whatever it needed. Get it in there by November 18th. probeauty.org/NAHA. Now, with our incredible guest today, such a fun guy. We were on 15 minutes before. Sometimes you guys have a chance to catch that. This individual is a salon owner, has been a national distributor, globally recognized as an industry leader. I've had the pleasure to meet this man several times, and we both, I sort of came into NAHA when he was really getting more heavily involved with Professional Beauty Association. This man started the very first Aveda exclusive, concept salon, the very first, a number one. Today, he has over 200 employees in his multiple locations. He serves on the board of directors for Aveda, for Intercoiffure, for the Professional Beauty Association, where I already mentioned he was the chairman of the Professional Beauty Association. So we thank you for your service, sir. A hairdresser, educator, artist, business icon, beauty industry pioneer. What more can I say? Please welcome to the show, Scott Buchanan. Hey,
Hello, my
Scott.
son. How are you? Nice
I'm
to
good.
see you and nice to have everybody virtually. Hello, everybody. Take a sip of something to drink. We got a
Exactly.
we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we got a lot, and I've got my tea, and you've got your coffee, I think. So uh, I'm celebrating October. I'm calling it. Generally, these fireside chats have cocktails, but it's an October month. So I want to dig in with you, Scott. And first of all, thank you for doing the show. We think you are the perfect cap to this series before we reboot in 2021. It's been quite an interesting year, so welcome. I'd like to first ask you, how did you get started in this business? Like, did you always know you wanted to be a hairdresser, or was this something that you just decided to do one day?
No, I actually I quit high school when I was 16 due to a lot of family issues, and so I had to leave my family. My mom passed away when I was young, and so I was an orderly in a nursing home actually, and I was tall for my age. And then around 19, I knew I had to do something somewhere, and I couldn't do nursing school because I didn't like needles. And I just saw an ad for hairdressing, Wilford Academy in New York City. And I thought, oh, I could do that. That sounds like fun. And when I went there, as soon as I put the scissors in my hand and as soon as I got into it, something sparked inside of me that I knew that I loved this. And it was a combination of serving and caring for people and my artistic side of shapes and colors. And it just gradually started to bloom and blossom and blow up as I got more into it.
Yeah, oh, that's so cool.
So it
So
was
now we know about some of the bloom and blossom here, but I talked to you a little bit about this in our pre-meeting about how for me, managing a salon was just tough stuff. All the there's just so much. It's a special person who can do this. When did you know you wanted to become a salon owner?
That didn't happen right away. What I really wanted to do, I worked at a wonderful, and it's really important for people out there that are listening to really, I thought I knew everything when I graduated Wilford Academy with a
Yeah,
thousand hours in New York City. And I
right.
remember this is a story that now will be public and on record, but I do say it a lot, so I'm okay. I got a job in a little hair salon on Fifth Avenue in the 20s. And Dorothy Hamill, so now I'm going to date myself. It was about 40. I've been licensed hairdresser for 42 years. So it was Dorothy Hamill, who was a big ice skater at the time, and everyone wanted her wedge. And, I had a client that sat in my chair and she asked for the wedge, and I was like, "Oh, okay." And I knew my 5 point haircut from Wilford
Yeah.
Academy. I think it was like 3 days out. And about an hour and a half later, she was crying, I was crying, and I just left my scissors. I left her in the chair with the cape and left and never went back to that salon. And that is when I knew that I needed education. I needed, beauty school was not college, is what I call going to a salon and getting an education, And so, the schools weren't like they are today. They're much better as far as your floor time. But that's when I knew I needed education. So I got affiliated with a wonderful salon, New Best and Company in Manhasset, Long Island, under Michael Mazzi. And I went to their education program, and there is where I became an intern and really learned how to cut hair and blow hair and finish hair and do. So that took about, by the time I left there was about 8 years into my career.
Wow.
And then I moved into Manhattan because I just had this itch to get out of Long Island and into Manhattan. And then I ran a salon. And so then I started as running it. I was a great hairdresser. I built my clientele, but I was running a salon and managing it. So I got to see the other side of it a little bit.
Yeah.
And then finally I was in a salon that, I just had this earning to do more, and they didn't really want to do more. So I felt that I had to leave. And I actually dabbled a little bit in lingerie and selling lingerie, thinking I was going to get out of the hair field,
Wow.
and which is a whole nother story and a whole nother podcast.
Not so used.
But what I learned was, do what you love. Most
Yeah.
importantly, go where your passion is. And passion to me was cutting hair and doing hair and serving the guests. And then on top of that, I started to realize that I like to help work with people and help not really work with them more so than lead them. But it does take a special person, because, my cup has to be full in order for me to fill your cup.
Right. Oh,
And
I
and
like
I have to really be able to understand that I have to come from a caring place. And I like to see people succeed. I like my guests to feel good about themselves and more beautiful, because, I believe that, I came into this profession with very low self-esteem. I didn't think very highly of myself, and so every guest that told me how fabulous I was,
that.
my ego, I got better and better and better. And so I liked that. So that I wanted more of it, and it became a drug.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at the same time, I had to keep myself right-sized, because, when the guest all of a sudden said she didn't like something, I couldn't jump down her throat like, I just did 200 people that love me, honey. What's the matter with you? And it really helped me stay right-sized to realize I like to see people succeed. Your success is my success. So the client loving what I did was great. And then the people I worked with, I like to help them be as successful. And that's just been a thread through my career.
So you lead me to something that I feel is so key to that. How important is mentorship? Let's start there, and then do you have any advice? Part two of the question for someone looking for the right mentor, because I've had both. I mean, you know, I thought I'm in the right place, and I went to go work at Jose Ibert, and it just wasn't the right. I wasn't a good fit. Now I could have rode that to being, you know, still working on Rodeo and having a great income from it, but I just knew within weeks I was in the wrong spot. So let's start with how important is mentorship and some sort of mentorship
Oh,
program?
I think a mentorship is huge. Finding a mentor, finding a cohort. I mean, that's, finding someone to look up to and help you with the good and the bad, and the
Yeah,
do's and the don'ts. But
yeah,
you have to really be open to criticism and open to corrective conversations. I mean, I always tell this story, and I don't know how well it would go with today's thing, but I remember Michael, who was the owner of New Best. I was his personal assistant, and by the time I got good enough for him, he didn't want to let me go.
okay.
And I learned a lot from them. And to this day, I've been in business 30 years almost, and
Wow.
to this day, a lot of the things I learned through working at that store are still in my repertoire of what my culture is and who we are as a business at Scott J. And I remember one time he literally, threw a brush across the salon floor because I was using the wrong brush on a client's hair. You know what I mean? And hit me in the back of the back, and I was like, oh my God, but like mentors are really important, because I knew it came from love. I knew it came from passion. I mean, like I said, this is a different day. This was 40 years ago,
Yeah,
probably even a little longer than that. So,
yeah,
but mentors to me are I still have mentors, and there was a lot of mentors, when you talked about me being the first lifestyle salon in New York City, there was mentors with me: David Wagner, Ray Travello, Van Michael,
wow.
Mark Pardo. We all, DJ Free. There was a crew of people that I mean, I remember sitting watching my first business class with David Wagner teaching me from the source, and I'm thinking, this guy is amazing, and I want to be him one day. And then I helped co-create the Aveda Business College with
So
friends, and so, mentors are really, really important. And how you find them for me is shows and going to events, and having time. And that's why I feel it's important for me when I go out to events. I like to make sure I talk to new people, that I see, because you never know how we get touched or who touches us to help. So I
Yeah.
try to stay as open as I can. I think mentoring is huge from both a business perspective, a personal perspective, an artistic perspective. You know, Antoinette, as you spoke about her, I mean, I'm in Charlie Price. I'm in the company that spoke already here. I feel
Yeah.
so honored that I'm part of it because they've all been mentors in little ways. You know,
Yeah.
everyone has mentored in different ways, you know, throughout the career. And that's how the culture of my salon is about
Yeah.
mentoring and learning to help each other.
I love that. So, and we're going to get into salon culture in a moment because I feel like that's so important. And it really has massively changed from you got a hairbrush in the back, I got a blow dryer thrown at me by Jose. Like we, it was the '80s. It was
Rough
like
time.
that's just the way it was. Um, so, how do you know when you have the right formula for a winning salon? Because I don't think every salon can be a Scott J and have that kind of real estate and have that kind of like impact necessarily. Some might need to be more of a boutique or a free chair, or and they can still make a mighty business. Are there some indicators that somebody can look for that they've got a good formula going, that they've got a good plan for a winning salon?
Absolutely. I don't think the size of a salon or the real estate or the land, it defines it, you know. I think your culture and what defines it is really what you feel. Listen, I've learned over all these years and many things that, your gut, intuitively, we know what's right and what's wrong. I don't need anybody, and if I just sit quiet enough and learn to be in tune with my inner self, and whatever you want to call that, and I listen to my gut, my intuition, it tells me whether I'm on the right path or the wrong path, and
Yeah,
sometimes we don't listen, but I always say at least pause and listen to it for a minute to give you some direction. And so, you know, the beauty business pre-pandemic, I'm going to say, um, we could be successful despite ourselves.
yeah,
I mean, we could just be busy hairdressers and not really have any business plan. I didn't go in with a marketing plan I didn't know anything except I was a good hairdresser. I had some people and I had an opportunity to buy a space and I bought a business. And then I had 4 people that work with me and I started to nurture them. And together we built it, and then we moved, and then I had an opportunity to buy another one, and that happened. And then I created education because I came from an educational salon where
yeah,
education was important. So I built an education in my company, and then it just snowballed and rolled, and I just kept doing the right thing and let go of the results.
yeah.
I know what the right thing is. I know when I'm letting someone run me over. So the question of, what makes it, is there one thing? It's not one thing. It's a cumulative amount of things, but
Yeah.
culture and having a culture really defines who you are, you
So
know.
let's talk about salon culture because I mean it can mean so many things. I used to try and call it, I was a little, you know, pot smoking little hippie, thought I was a grunge boy. And I saw, I put a salon on Buddhist holy ground and I was like, we're like our own little Dada movement. We have an architect, we have a poet, we have a writer, we have, a filmmaker, and we come together and we build our community for this city, right? And that was kind of my way of doing it, but it never really created the best working culture for in the salon because I still had the cat fighting and the every day I was coming into problems. So it didn't really fix any of that. It made me the busiest and a top 200 in the country, but it didn't fix the culture. Let's talk about the culture inside and how have you built such a beautiful culture?
Well, I think it starts with most people I didn't think about a culture in the beginning. And if we don't think about a culture in the beginning, we just think about an idea or a concept like you did, then
Yeah.
the culture just, there is a culture, whether you know it or not, whether it's a good one or a bad one. And sometimes, it's just going on without you. So really defining what it is that you want so you can hire to that culture, you can train to that culture, you can coach to that culture, you can fire to that culture. Like that's what you really, so I always say to people thinking about, starting their own or sitting in their culture, because you can be a 10-year salon and go, what happened to my culture? I don't like my culture. I'm not happy here anymore. I was happy 10 years. So first you got to find your own true happiness, and like you said, you started a business and it didn't feel good to you. It wasn't what you wanted, so you got out and did it a different way. You know, I still get a lot of rewards out of watching people grow. I look at my team and I see hairdressers that I've helped grow and train from that have been with me 20 years,
Wow.
18 years, 15 years, 25 years. And, I see that they bought houses, built. And so that's the culture that I created, is that so the culture trains the culture. So that
Right.
while I'm not in the salon as much anymore, now the culture itself trains the culture. So defining it yourself, what is it you want it to be? And then marking that down. So when you're hiring people and bringing them aboard, ask questions that see if they fit into your culture. Just don't say, listen, we're a team player. Are you a team player? Because
Yeah.
people are going to say, yes, what does a team player mean? Tell me about a time you didn't play with your team right, or tell me about a time you had trouble playing with a team member on your team. Let them
Yeah.
tell you about an experience of theirs, and you'll see how they reacted, and that
Right.
lets you know whether they're a team player or not. So knowing your 5 things that create your culture, and then hiring to it, training to it, coaching to it, and being vigilant to make sure that that is what it is.
Do you think that some salons get a little bit too friendly, too like we're family, you're my brother, I'm your sister, and they forget to kind of run a business? I feel like I've seen a lot of that. And then it gets really personal when somebody leaves. A lot of salons, I feel like they've developed a culture of like, we are one. And then when any change happens, which it will, right? Change is just a fact of life. Um, any advice for sort of? I mean, there's a fine line, right? Like you have this beautiful business, you couldn't just run it exclusively like we're family, right? Could you? Or
We are family, but you know what? We have people leave, and the
yeah,
ripple effect of that hurts me and hurts them. Listen, I take it personally when someone says they don't want to work for Scott J anymore, unless you're moving out of the state and you're going to visit your mother because you're having a baby with your husband and you want to be closer to your family. I can
yeah,
understand it, but if you move down the street or you do something, I get hurt because I love everybody that works there, and I feel like,
yeah,
what did I do wrong, and why do you hate me? But I've
yeah,
learned through the years, that's not the truth. Scott J Cares is my motto that I put everything through. It's
yeah,
really what I believe, because I care about each individual person personally and professionally. And if as a group, it is hard for everybody. So I acknowledge it. Listen, guys, so and so just left. They've been with me. I've had During this pandemic, I had people leave that were with me 20 years. That was hurtful, and not hurtful. It hurt. It wasn't hurtful. It hurt.
yeah,
It hurt me, and it was a ripple effect for the team to get used to. But we thrive and we move on.
yeah,
It doesn't mean I can't see you at a cocktail party. You chose not to stay with, and so it's just creating that. It's not easy, but change happens, and this pandemic has really taught us that change happens and that
yeah,
things are never the same. The only constant is death and taxes, and that's the real truth. After that, everything is up for grabs. So all we can do as owners and managers and hairdressers is live our truth. Live your truth. And if you live your truth and you want to be of service, then you're right for me.
yeah,
And understand that everything is about coming together to do the right thing. So I call it the triple win. Is it a win for the guest? Is it a win for you? And is it a win for the company? Because if we can keep hitting triple wins all day long within our company, then we're going to have a home run.
then the
Because
success breeds the success. I'm going to
exactly.
jump ahead to a question and then I'll come back. But um, during these times, since you mentioned, the pandemic, any advice for keeping your team? It sounds like you've already dealt with some things that just are unfortunate as far as team loss. Um, how are you keeping your team connected in these very sort of separated times, in these new rules times? Any advice for keeping that team connected?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, now, I mean, for me, we are doing Zoom meetings more. with different groups of people. So my team is more Zoom friendly. I have not yet, but I've have friends in Salon that do little outdoor Central Park things where you could come
Oh,
together, as a team outside. So it's
yeah,
really about communication. I mean, everyone wants community and everyone wants a feeling of belonging.
yeah.
So however you can put that under your umbrella of showing, I'm currently doing wellness check-ins with everybody. So it's been 3 months since we've been opened. So, the first 2 months, it was all about just the protocols and how we greet the guests now and dealing with one guest instead of two, three guests at a time. How do we deal with working with the mask and the shield and the this and, just getting the systems down. Now we're done with that, and that's all becoming quite natural to be talking to people with masks
Yeah.
and so now I'm doing wellness checks where I'm just sitting down with each individual person for 45 minutes with the manager of the salon and talking about how they're feeling. Is
Yeah.
there anything I can do? So just giving people the opportunity to connect and, and help them, because we all have to meet everybody where they're at, because not everybody, including myself, I mean, one day I think it's great and the world is going to be great and we're moving along, and the next minute I think my whole business is falling apart.
Right.
And it's the same with my hairdressers, my front desk team, and my guests. So I
Yeah.
have to meet them where they're at. So, it's just finding creative ways to do things now.
Is there a change in customer service? I feel like pre-COVID there was customer service, and is it different now in your service to the customer? For some people, they're telling me it's actually stronger because they're not being passed around to
Yes.
several assistants and so forth. So people are building stronger um, alliance there.
I think the guests are more grateful to be here, and the stylist is more grateful to have their guests,
Yeah,
because everyone, the little time off has created the need, and there's not the same, there's more time to spend with each guest. While we're not doing some of the rituals that we normally would have done, we're having conversations, and guests are just more happy to be within the environment. They're happy to see our protocols. They're happy to be getting their hair done and be supporting their hairstylist and supporting the
yeah,
business, because they realize they missed us and they
yeah,
missed the relationship, because it really, the relationship is everything. The relationship is what we do. We're in the relationship business. We do it through beauty. We do
yeah,
it through cutting hair. We do it through being a guest service team member at the front desk. But what we're doing is we're a relationship builder.
yeah,
So the more we can just figure out how to keep those relationships happening, and
yeah,
as Susan Scott always says, there's a great book, Fierce Conversations. She always says, the conversation is the relationship. So the
yeah,
conversations you're having is the relationships you're in. So that goes with your team, that goes with your customers.
yeah.
What conversations are you having? Because that's the kind of relationship you're having.
That's so beautiful. Couple people shouting out to you. And by the way, folks, I've got more questions than I could possibly ask him in our time together, and I would love to swap any of them out for your questions. Betty Sharp wanted to say hi to
Oh,
you from Sunny.
hello.
We
Hello.
also had a Facebook message from Stephen Statland telling you hello from
Oh,
Facebook. So just wanting to say hi.
wow.
You're
I
such
get teary eyed.
you like me, really like me. Let's get into some of your philanthropic work. Like let's talk about some of you've reached beyond, the staff and the general client. You've actually done some pretty amazing things for your customers as far as philanthropic work. Would you like to tell us about any of that?
Well, yeah, I mean, Earth Month is one thing we're always doing, being that I am an Aveda salon and I care about the earth.
Yeah.
But cancer is another. Excuse me, huh?
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Um, Cancer is another thing that's very close to my heart, since my mom passed away from cancer, and my uncle, and so I've been working with Hair to Stay, which to me is about cold capping, which I just found out about Bethany, and Noah a couple of years ago through being at Serious Business in New Orleans, and Deborah Neal, who and Carol, who always bring new ideas, new speakers, new concepts. And it's about cold capping and helping people with their hair, because as hairdressers, I've always had, over the 40 years of being a hairdresser, clients sit in my chair telling me, let's start thinking about what I have to go for chemo. I just got diagnosed with cancer and I'm going to start losing my hair. And I start doing things with them to talk about not how they're going to look good, but how we should start progressively getting it shorter, so when it falls out, you're not so shocked. And this
Right.
cold capping really helps to keep their hair so that they don't have to lose the outside while their insides are going through such hard things, so their children don't have to see them in wigs. So I love the whole concept of it, and every $1,000 that we can raise for that is helps one person get a treatment for the whole time.
Oh,
So
wow.
it really helps underprivileged people, because thank God
Like
you and
one
I,
grand.
1 grand, but to 1 grand when you're only making $30,000 a year is a lot of money.
Yeah,
And
but I
so
mean, I had a colleague. She had to pay 8,000 for one, so it's great that they're letting it happen for 1,000,
yes.
right? Like
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
that's
$1,000. We can get it through Hair to Stay, a grant. They can give you grants. So,
yeah,
there's that. And I used to work with Sloan Kettering in New York City for post-treatment, to talk to men and women going through cancer afterwards, to just talk about their skin, about their hair. And, when I was giving back like that, and when I give of service like that, I've gotten customers for 20 years that way,
yeah,
that have survived, been cancer survivors, but they love our kindness, and so they start coming to the salon because they feel good and feel secure, and then they just keep coming. So while you're giving without expecting anything in return, you can also be building your business. And I just believe, in service. If I'm of service to you, money and all those riches that we quote unquote call riches come to us. It's
yeah.
not so much about the money, it's about the service and making you feel good. So
And
those are
it
two
sounds like
quotes.
your yin and yang business philosophy throughout everything, that it's coming back to you, right? Because it's good for you, it's good for me, it's good for everyone.
Absolutely. It becomes that good, it's always, but it's much better for me to give than to receive,
Yeah.
because I'll receive in a different way.
That's when you know you've reached something, right? When you can say that, right? That it feels better to give. You're not stuck in the muck of I'm trying to run a business here, but you were at the point where you realize that that giving somehow or at a higher level is what's giving you all that return. Um,
Absolutely.
that's so
Absolutely.
beautiful. Sylvia from Facebook has a question. I'm in a suite by myself. We've been open since June. She's in Las Vegas, or sorry, Las Cruces, New Mexico. We miss the hugs. Stay well. So she's in a suite. I'm not sure that's a question, but I guess she just wanted to say hi. Well, congratulations on your suite. It's just a
Yes, and
comment.
I mean, we all miss the hugs. It's hard to be, even in our salon, as I talk to my team about staying vigilant about being 6 feet distance, even though we're mask to mask, we're a
Yeah.
huggy bunch. We'll always be a huggy bunch.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard.
Is yeah, the elbows are somehow not
They
cutting it.
don't really do it.
I wanted to ask you. Let's see. I'd like to get into some best practices for hiring. I know I keep going back to this, but I think you're just such a benchmark for the kind of salon I think a lot of people hope to have one day. What are some best practices you can recommend for hiring staff, for hiring a new stylist? Is there some automatic program? Is there a test they must pass? Or
Well, as an intern, I hired to become a service provider, you have to go through my training program. I very rarely hire from without,
okay,
because there's more to it than just being a good hairdresser. It's, do you fit into the culture?
okay,
Do you know what the culture is? Do you understand the culture? So I like people to, even if they come with 3 or 4 years, even if they spend 2 months going through my education, it's really not so much to fine tune their craft of hairdressing, but to see them fit into the culture of teamwork and helping each other, and not being, I'm too good for that. And then there's the guest service team. There's more to the team than just the service provider. So, for
Yeah.
me, it's about the hiring. It's about the questions you ask. It's about, I say do less talking, more listening,
Right.
so pose some questions, have some typical questions. Tell me about a time this happened. Tell me about a time you had a run-in with your coworker and it didn't go right. Just so you can hear their story and it lets you know who they are. My VP of my company, Joseph, he always asks, how about siblings, and are you an only child? So not that you would ask, but you find out, are they an only child, or do they have a lot of brothers and sisters? If they have a lot of brothers and sisters, they know how to work with people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's really about the questions and asking questions that fit into your culture, so that you can see if they understand your culture, and also demonstrating things. A little trick I do, and it won't be a trick now if you spread this too big, but is if people are sitting waiting in the lobby and in the lounge to be interviewed by somebody, I'll walk by and drop something like a pen or piece of paper. And some people will sit there and not even pick it up and not say anything. They don't know who I am. And people of service would automatically say, "Excuse me, you dropped something." So it lets me know right then and there, are they coming from a place of service? Because, I can't teach you to smile and be kind. I can teach you how to check in and check out a guest. I can teach you but I can't teach you the kindness things that your mother. So I need to see that in interview questions, how much you do that, because to me, I can teach you how to cut hair. I can teach you how to answer the telephone. I can teach you the systems of Scott J's booking, but I cannot teach you the warm heart and
Oh,
the openness. And that is what makes a winning salon, whether it's a boutique salon or a big mega salon. And I happen to think that boutique salons are very powerful. It doesn't
yeah.
matter boutique or 5 chair, 3 chair, or 10 chair or 20 chair. It's about the culture and the love and the giving that comes from both the team to the guest, because then the guest gives it back.
Yeah. And I think that's so important because I've been to bigger, larger real estate salons like yours, and even though I do what I do, I've been a little bit intimidated by the front desk. I felt like everybody was kind of like, you know,
What's
snarled
he
nose.
wearing?
Yeah. Oh, last year's Gucci's. Like and maybe it was all in my mind, but if they're giving that vibe, think of your grandmother going there. You know,
Absolutely. No,
they're just not
absolutely.
casual.
Listen, everyone feels intimidated. Listen, we get our clients mostly, think about it. We're used to seeing people with foils in their hair, single
Yeah.
process color around their forehead,
Yeah.
but a client is not used to sitting like that and seeing other people. So we have to be very conscious of making people feel comfortable the way they are and meeting people where they're at. And more so now in this COVID time of where people are with COVID. We have to be conscious of both our team and our guests about, under that caring. How are we caring about? How are we coming of service? What are we doing to serve our guests? And did that action I just did, that nasty remark I made, did that really serve the guest? Did that serve the team? If the answer is no, then we need to change that behavior.
Yeah.
And it's a real simple thing to just kind of put it through that filter of Scott J cares, or caring for yourself and your company. And was that a caring move or not? Was that a caring statement or not?
Yeah. Yeah.
Leaving your client 15 minutes in the chair while you came in late. Was that caring?
And the gossip where she's listening, and yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, that is a great book I'll recommend for everybody. It's called Lessons from the Mouse, and it's by Dennis Snow, who used to run Disney. And there's not a better company in the world that creates experiences like Disney. And he
Right.
talks a lot about everything, how Disney was run, the back end of it. And one of the things he talks about is on stage and off stage. And so to me, it's backstage, on the floor and in the back room. And
Right.
what's the difference in the conversation? When you're on that salon floor and you open that salon door, you're on stage. And even
Right.
though you're walking by and you don't have a guest, but you're walking by a guest checking out and you're throwing a snide remark at the receptionist, that guest that's checking out hears that, and that's in the play. And
Yeah.
so it's a wonderful, wonderful book that you can actually take through your guest service team or your whole salon. And they have little recaps after every chapter that gives great conversations to really talk about how to deliver the great experience for
Two
everybody.
books you've recommended, because we have a resources page
Oh,
after each interview. So the two books you've recommended today,
Susan
can we
Scott,
Susan
Susan
Scott?
Scott, Fierce Conversations and Fierce Leadership.
Okay.
And the other one is Lessons from the Mouse by Dennis Snow.
Okay. So
And
Leslie and Sherry, hopefully you've got that. We'll get that in our resources notes because this is good stuff. Also, Leslie's got it great. Also, didn't want to not say hi back. Amber Pope is saying hi to you.
oh, hello.
um, let's so we as you know, we're all about NAHA, we're all about PBA here. Does anyone in your staff enter NAHA, and if so, do you feel like it's a good exercise for
Absolutely. We have team members that have entered many years in a row and have, not been a finalist, but have entered. And it's the journey. It's the journey of doing. It's not so much the winning. It's the camaraderie of working. It's the creative juices of, commercial hair is wonderful. And some people just want to do commercial hair, and that's great. You can make great money. And other people want to take their creativity to a different level and do the fun things that they can be creative at and do something that a client might not necessarily want, but helps them. And so I think all of that inspires you to be your best,
right?
whoever that is. And so, I love NAHA that it gives the opportunity for that. They have the team one, so you can get a team together. And I think the more you can work together as a team that way, then when you're working in the salon, it's the same camaraderie and the same teamwork.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've
That's
had no one's won yet, but I judged NAHA twice, and I was blown away um, at the professionalism of the judging, and of the way in which you put the process through and the different steps it takes, and how you don't really, it's not a personality thing, it's not a salon name thing, because you don't know anything. Everyone's a number.
yeah.
Every image is a number, 49872. You like it or not, and that's it. You know what I mean? And you don't even know what it is until the end,
Yeah.
and you don't know till you announce it. And I just found that to be refreshing,
Yeah.
from a judge's point of view, and also from just for me to tell my team that I didn't even look at some of my team's work on the years that I was judging, because I said I don't want to get involved. So do
Right.
not show me I am judging this year. So they actually went in, and I didn't see it till after the fact of
Wow.
what their work was.
We're so glad you have judged for us in the past, and you speak to the diversity in. So we have salon owners, we have stylists, we have editorial stylists, we have publishers, we have you know uh, all walks of the industry voting, because we want to get the most well-rounded decision. And you're correct, it's blind. Everybody's a number. Let's talk a little bit about PBA. You were actually the chair for the board, so again, thank you for your service. Why should somebody get involved with the Professional Beauty Association?
Oh, well, first of all, I think getting involved in any association, the Professional Beauty Association, really encompasses everybody, just to make friends, find a mentor, learn. I mean, just when you go to a phone conversation, you're on a conference call, you're somewhere, the amount of knowledge I learn at the bar having a drink with somebody
Yeah.
is amazing. That comes back to help me. Going to the executive summit while I might be a hairdresser, but learning about marketing and how people think and the trends of retailing, you know, comes back to help you. So the breadth of what it offers people is huge. The fact that the voice, I mean, we have one industry, it's called the beauty industry. If we get taxed, we could be out like suntan parlors.
Right.
We have to, and so we need one voice on Washington, that they help guide that voice on Washington is huge. So, being a part of that, this is our industry. It's an inclusive thing. I mean, I'm passionate about it. I want to elevate this industry before I go on to my next life or just retire, which I don't think I'll ever retire. I'll just be dead. People always ask me, what's your exit strategy? Death. You know what I mean? But, is I want to elevate the industry. I want to make sure that, when a child tells their mother they want to be a hairdresser, spoons and forks don't drop at the table, and people
Right.
don't say you need to go to college first.
Right.
And I see that still going on. So I want to elevate the industry where it's a craft where you can make six figures. I know more hairdressers that are happy with their lives and make more money or as much money as a lawyer or a doctor who are miserable every day going to work. And the
Yeah.
power of what we do behind the chair, and that we're one of the only industries left to touch and inspire. So to be a part of an association that helps that believes in the elevation of the industry is huge. And the PBA has worked hard at giving many levels of entry into it. So you can be from just being an e-member and getting a little bit of newsletters to driving all the way up to being a full-fledged member and getting all the resources that it has to
Yeah.
offer. I wouldn't see not being a part of it, just like, other associations like Intercultura. I mean, the more you can spread yourself out there to be a part of and that's how you thrive and that's how my juices get filled. Being
Yeah.
with people, going out to the industry events when they start up again, being a part of it, meeting new people.
Yeah. And there is so much, it sounds cliche, but the power in numbers, there are enough licensed hairdressers in this country to elect a president. If they all had one voice of this will be our president, there's enough of them to elect one. So
Absolutely.
think of the benefits we could figure out to provide, to lobby for, to make happen if we all just pulled together in one organization. So I'm with you 100%.
Absolutely.
Sign up for PBA. You need to be a part of it. This man
Absolutely.
knows.
And then do what you want with it. You
Yeah.
can be engaged or just be a voice and know that we're going to count your voice and be a voice for you if you don't want to be the voice. But,
Yeah.
we need you to be a part of it so that we can grow and be the voice of the industry.
I love that. I love that so much. So we're nearing the end of our time here, and I wanted to ask you a fun question, which is it's so great because you're like running this empire, but this question you're like, I have to think about this. I'm gonna add. I like to end the show with kind of a fun question, which is, we've done crayons and ice creams, but for you and your experience with Salon, the fun question will be, let's say Aveda is going to allow you to create your own color. You get to choose the shade and you get to choose the name of it, just one single color. Tell us what that color would be and what would you call it?
Oh, that's crazy. Um, I'm much better talking about something else. I would probably say um, something in the kaleidoscope kind of
Okay.
gloss,
Okay.
because I really believe in inclusivity.
Okay.
So and shine. I
Okay.
like to make people shine and feel
Okay.
good.
Yeah.
So something either in that kaleidoscope kind of color, and I would call it, shine, or
Yeah.
let you, or this little light of mine.
Yeah.
Um, or I might even go with something transparent and just a gloss.
Yeah.
Really no color, because I, I think what feeds my soul is people feeling good about themselves and succeeding. So
Yeah.
filling your cup makes me feel the best. So when I can build you up, that makes me feel better.
Shine, shine, shine.
Shine, shine, shine. So that would be it. It's not really a good answer, and my Charlie Price is already probably barfing at that answer if he's listening,
I'm like, I'm going
because
to call
that
your
is
color.
so uncreative, Scott. But
Shine, shine, shine.
that,
That's great. And I'm sure that the chemist brains are like, could we put a rainbow of colors into a gloss? That would be interesting, right? All at once, like when it
yeah, it's
hits the
something
sun.
very subtle, the way the light hits it,
Yeah,
transparent,
you're onto something
especially
there.
for people that can't make up their mind what color they want to be. You got it all on your head. I like it all. I like a lot of options.
It's the French tip, a hair color. Get it?
Exactly.
So Scott, you've been such an incredible final season. You are our final creative conversation for 2020, and I know most of us just can't wait for this year to be over and to
Mm,
start a new one. There have been some incredible things that have happened throughout the year, and most of our incredible stories come from salon owners just like you. Keeping that business alive and keeping their staff inspired and doing what they can and taking less so everybody has some. So thank you for that. And I just wanted to let you have any final thoughts that you would like to share with our viewers.
oh, well, thank you, first of all, for having me. And thank you, everybody, for spending the time with us and for sharing the love. And, you know, this pandemic has really helped us all, I think, reboot a little and rethink ourselves. And so that's been a good thing. And I'm sure we've all come up. So keep thinking about what you wanted to do and keep driving towards that force, you
Yeah.
know, and keep doing, keep that focus, write it down, write the three things down and go with it. Use that pandemic time of disruption to reemerge the way you want to reemerge for the next 20 years. Um, and for me, I think I'd just like to leave everybody with something that I've been trying to practice a lot now, especially with the turmoil and the uncertainty, is throw love on it. When you're unsure in your business, in a conversation, in meeting with a team member, how can I throw love at it? How
Yeah.
can I, do that? And there's another great book, Stephen Covey, uh,
Oh, I
uh,
love
and he had, seek first to understand before being understood.
it. Yeah.
So if you come from throwing love on it and seeking first to understand where you're coming from, and what
Yeah.
is where are you coming from first? I know where I'm coming from, so I don't have to defend myself right away. First, I got to try to see where you're coming from so I can latch on to that a little bit. It will help the conversation open up and blossom into something that's beneficial for you and I. It's not a one way, but a two way. So,
Yeah.
just stay strong, throw love on it,
Throw
throw
love.
love at it.
Love
And,
that.
and when you do that, things will be better.
I love
Conversations will be better, relationships will be better, business will be better.
I'm going to throw some love all over everything.
There you
I'm
go.
telling you, that's such a beautiful thing. Scott, thank you so much for being here with us today. Folks, please don't forget November 18th. That's your final day to enter NAHA for all categories, including inspiring salon. We met a man who is inspiring a salon that is inspiring. If you know of a salon or you have a salon, please get in, register probeauty.org/NAHA. Thank you again, Scott. Thank you to
Thank you
everyone
very much, Michael
watching.
Sean. Bye,
Oh, and
everybody.
thank
Happy
you.
holidays.
I have one more
Oh,
thing I have to say. So we've actually got a sponsor for this award who is paying the entry fees. So Salon Centric has volunteered to sponsor the entry fees for inspiring salons. So you have no excuse. If you have an inspiring salon, make sure you get out there. And thank you so much, Salon Centric, for giving that opportunity, because we know times are tough for folks. So let's get out there and nominate those salons. Thank you so much, Scott.
thank
Thank
you,
you to
everybody. Have a
everyone.
beautiful holidays.
Have a great holiday, and we'll see you soon. Take care.
Bye.